Okay, hi for everyone, and really I appreciate dear Christina and everyone who helped to organize this online meeting, and I hope we can succeed for somehow to learn about what is going on in Palestine, especially in the Jordan Valley, and we can do something for our civilian. First, this is in the screenshot. You can see our slogan. We say to exit is to resist, save the Jordan Valley. This is one of the natural and plant. You can, if you came in March and April, you can see it everywhere in the Jordan Valley. We will talk about the general and the background information about the Jordan Valley area. The Jordan Valley, it's part of the West Bank, and it's one of the main strategy and the huge part in the West Bank. And we're talking about 30% of the West Bank. It's the Jordan Valley, which is started from south of the Jordan Valley, from the Dead Sea area and part of the Bethlehem until Tubas, including Nablus, Ramallah, part of all this main town. It's in the Jordan Valley region area, which is very rich of area as an agriculture area, very rich of water resources, and it's in the two border with the Jordan country in the 67 border and with the 48 border. If we start talking about before 1967, before the occupation and the Israeli occupation war, it was our population was more than 300 Palestinians who living in the Jordan Valley. And now we are talking about just only 56 who still living and resisting in the Jordan Valley, including the Palestinians in the main town of Jericho. And there are more than 10,000 illegal Israeli settlers living in 39 Israeli colonies. And of course, since COVID-19 until now, the Israeli settlers, they built more than 20 new outposts. Outposts, it means it's Israeli colonies or Israeli settlement, but it's still like a small Israeli colony. And those settlers, when they came to different kind of area. And they have the whole support from Israeli government, from Israeli organization, and from international organization, from USAID, to support them to confiscate and steal our Palestinian land and make them living there. And of course, they support them even for the agro business project, and even what they need to be there. And about the general situation, I hope everyone they know about Oslo Agreement. Oslo Agreement is one of the agreement the Israeli government they signed it with the Palestinian leader in 1993. And in this agreement, they make 95% of the Jordan Valley area as an area which they call it Area C. And this area is totally under Israeli control. In the agreement, they have the Israeli government to give back this area to the Palestinian Authority after 5 years. But since 93 until now, they don't give it back, and it's still under Israeli control. And even they're dividing this area different kind of names, and including a lot of Palestinian villages and community as an area they call it a closed military firing zone. And they put a sign in our village, in our community, in our farm, in this sign they write it's dangerous area, not allowed to enter. And they mention it's it's a military firing and it's a closed area. But in the reality or in the fact, they don't really using all this area as a closed military or for an army exercises or for an army training. just the way they put our land, our resource, our village, our civilian who living there under the Israeli military law. Which that means in the Israeli military law, they can make my house, they can make my farm an enclosed military area, which that means they will not be allowed for anybody to enter, even to my house or to my farm or to our village. This is the way how they can displacement our people outside of this area, which they call it a closed military, to the West Bank. Just in the strategy that's easier for settlers and for the Israeli government to confiscate our land. And there is 1% of this area, they make it as a minefield, but there is no mine. And the settlers, even they grow part of this land. Natural reserve area, everyone, I think they will be happy to have in his country or around his village or his town to have a natural reserves where they can hike, where they can go to see the natural and to enjoy the natural or the plant or the animals. But in the Israeli government strategy, the natural reserves, it's even they use it for displacement our people and kick them outside. How? Most of our farmers who still resisting and living in the Jordan Valley, mostly they have animals like cow or sheep or goats, which that means they have to take those animals outside to the field to feed them from the natural, which even this is one of the way how the animals, they can sharing or bringing the different kind of seeds from different kind of plant and making good imbalance for the natural and for the plant. And one of the strategy that Israeli they use to do in the natural reserves area, especially in the summertime, like in May or in June, they burn the natural spring area, just to be sure that our farmers who have the sheep or goats, they cannot feed his animals from the natural reserves. In this time of the years, May and June, it's different kind of animals and a lot of plant who start giving the seeds and a lot of animals who start giving the bath for the baby, which means that they kill a lot of seeds, they kill a lot of animals, just to be sure that our farmers, they cannot resist and living in this area. And it just, this is like how they are creating every, let's say, 1-2 years, a new kind of strategy to use it just against our civilian to kick them and displacement them outside of the Jordan Valley area. And one of the main Israeli strategy of organizing to displacement our Palestinians outside of the Jordan Valley, that's the water resource. As we mentioned from the beginning, it used to be the main Palestinians' resource of water, it's in the Jordan Valley. As the Jordan River, drinkable water, the Dead Sea, everywhere from south to the north of the Jordan Valley, it's full of natural spring water. And even everywhere under the ground, it's full of water, which we can call it the aqua water, or if we dig under the ground, easier to find a lot of water. And now we are talking about 85% of the water resource in the Jordan Valley is controlled from Israeli company, that's they call it Mikarot. This company, the Israeli, even they created before 1984, before the first occupation. They created in 1937, which they call it Mikarot company, which that means they have the strategy, they have the whole plan, how they can control the main life through the water. And as you can see in the screen, you can see the Israeli military soldiers in the top of the water tank, and you can see some women, Palestinians, and children who trying to stop the Israeli soldiers even to not confiscating the water tank. Now, one of the only solution that's for our civilian who still resist and living in Area C, because they are not allowed to access to the water resource, they have to travel and they have to use the tractor or the big truck and the tank to travel from Area C to the Area A and buying the water. And each 1 cubic meter of water is cost 25 shekel. And sometimes they have to drive at least 60 kilometers to go and to come back to the village in Area C. And even the Israeli soldiers and Israeli government, they don't respect the right of water for civilian or for humanity being for our people who living in Area C. And we are still talking, until now, we are not allowed to access to the water resource and to the drinkable water in the whole Area C in the Jordan Valley. This is one of the ways how we can have the water. And already the Israeli company, which is called Mikarot, they dig and building 20 water wells and taking the water from underground to the Israeli settlement and Israeli colony and to the army base in the Jordan Valley and even outside of the Jordan Valley. And in each Israeli settlement and colony, you can see in this photo how it's the Israeli colony, it looks so green. And even in the middle, you can see the swimming pool. This is one of the settlements, it's called Fasail. It's very close to the Palestinian village, which is called Fasail. And even there's still the name of our village. But if you look into our village, how it's look around the houses and in the field, how it's look like a desert village. And this is one of the main apartheid system, what we can call it. It's the water that they control it and they refuse even to share it, even they refuse to sell it to our people, just to be sure that they can succeed to displacement or our people outside of the Jordan Valley. And even around the Jordan Valley, it's controlled through the border, it's controlling it through 5 Israeli checkpoints. They control to enter, they control even to exit, which they create very hard life for students to go from Area C to the Area A, to the university, to the high schools. They create very hard situation for health service because in all the Jordan Valley, until now, we don't have any hospitals. Until now, we don't have any university. We have just very simple schools, which also, this is the schools we have it, it's really under the risk because the Israelis, they try to destroy it. They give many orders or house demolition order or for the different houses and different schools in the Area C. This is what the Israelis create since the 67 until now. And every year, as I mentioned before, they're trying to make this kind of life really not possible, really hard life, to clean the whole area and all our land, to be sure that they can keep the Jordan Valley as part of Israel. And even in the whole area that they mention it as a close military area, it's one of the really dangerous because sometimes just they enter even to the area which call it Area B. Area B, it's an area that's under both control. They should be under Israeli and Palestinian authority control, but our authority is like they don't really have any control in this area, which that means it's just under Israeli control, especially for water, especially for economic, for electric, for whatever. And one of the really dangerous things that even sometimes the Israeli military, they enter to the Area B, which is, we're talking about thousands of people who living in these villages or area. to make even an army exercise inside the village, inside the house, inside our farms. Which that means sometimes even they leave some mines and they put different area mine that's killing a lot of Palestinians or injured a lot of Palestinians, especially in the Jordan Valley. One of the main Israeli politicals that they use it is the house demolition. The house that we talk about it's not a really concrete house. It's not like 5 or 10 floors house. We are talking about a very simple tent. Even they don't respect our families who living in the Jordan Valley, our civilian who own the land. They are not allowed even to build a simple tent. This policy they started in 1997. They just came, they give an order to destroy our tent, our animals' house, any kind of structure that we build it, they came and they destroy. And this one of the things which is donated from different European organizations for humanity to support the family, even the Israeli, they come and they destroy. And sometimes even they just came and confiscated to be sure that the people, they cannot even recycling this simple thing to build it again and to try to resist and living in the village. Abu Sakr family, it's one of the examples that's the whole time we are talking as a strong example for resistance and big or one of the really strong Israeli soldiers who trying to destroying his resistance in Al-Hadidi village in the north of the Jordan Valley. This family in 2015, it was, I think, in December or between November and December, 32 times the Israeli, they destroy and confiscate his family tent and house. 32 times in 2 weeks. And this is one of the family who really spent 2 weeks just in the cold, just in the winter, without any protection. Even a lot of international embassy who visit this family and this community in the way to protect this simple tent, but they don't succeed. And the soldiers, they came many times and sometimes they confiscate the tent, sometimes they destroy the family with some activity, they try to build it again. And the Israeli, they came just in 1 hour later, you know, and doing this attack or harassment again. Even if we ask for a permission to build this tent in our own land, they don't respect and they don't give. Like in all Area C, not just in the Jordan Valley, in the whole West Bank, it's just only 1% area they give permission or let's say permit where we allowed to build. Just 1%. For settlers who just arrived from the whole world, from Europe, you know, they have the right to build whatever they want. In this pictures, you can see this is one of in the blue small bulldozer. This is one of bulldozer the Israeli they used in '67 to destroy some villages and community in the south of the Jordan Valley. Now they put it as a nice sign to welcome the people in the Israeli colony, which they call it Yitaf. And of course, settlers are 30% of the population and having access to 86% of the land in the Jordan Valley. They access to 85% of the water in the Jordan Valley. Since COVID-19 until now, the settlers who's really having the main power even for controlling the water resource. Just today, in the morning, we should meet Christina for a test meeting, and I was busy because today the settlers, they attacked a small community in the north of the Jordan Valley called Khirbet Ad-Deir. In this community, there is 4 natural spring water, and there is around 50 Palestinian farmers who using this water for growing vegetables, like cucumbers or tomatoes or eggplant. And the settlers today, they start working in this 4 natural spring water to confiscate it. And 3 years ago, they confiscated other 3 natural spring water. One is called As-Sakut, one is called Ain al-Hilwa natural spring water. And how they can confiscate it? Just they build a fence around it and they put a gate and they close it. And of course, they put a camera, just to be sure they can watch anyone try to access inside. And this is how they even destroy our agro business, because before the occupation, before 67, it used to be the main Palestinians breadbasket, producing different kind of vegetables and even some kind of fruit. It used to be in the Jordan Valley, and it was thousands and thousands of families who came just to live and to work in the Jordan. But when they control the land and the water, they make thousands of Palestinians, they have to work inside the Israeli colony to live and to find a solution for himself and his family to have some kind of work. And in the same time, they create and they build the main Israeli agro business. In these pictures here, you can see the different sign. The sign, just the one in the left, you can see next to the sign there is like a big tree. Half of the tree is green and the rest of the tree it's burned. And if you're looking to the floor, even you can see how is the part of the land, it's black and part is still green. This is the sign they put it to mention the area as a natural reserve area, and they burn it, as I mentioned in the beginning. And this is part of the beauty of the Jordan Valley, different and different kind of animals. Even in the Jordan Valley, it's one of the really very rich place to find a unique plant, not just in Palestine, but even in the world. It's a lot of different of unique plant that we can find it in the Jordan Valley. And I hope this kind of plant, they can resist and they can survive. This is some kind of information that we have it from Israeli newspapers, which called Haaretz. It was 70% of the whole Israeli export of dates to Europe. And as you see, it's more than 100 millions per year, the settlers who make in the Jordan Valley, from dates, from grapes, flowers, some kind of vegetables, which mostly they exported in Europe. The same, the Dead Sea, they use it for agro-business and agro-tourism, different project. There is one of the big Israeli company, which is called Ahava. They have a huge project in the Dead Sea area, which is producing and making some kind of cream, some kind of makeup, and from the Dead Sea water and mud. And even as a Palestinians, we are not allowed to enter without paying in the Dead Sea, because the whole Dead Sea area is controlling as the rest of our land and water resource. This is a little bit like, maybe we can explain a little bit just about who we are and what we are doing in the Jordan Valley as a group or as a movement. First, we are a Palestinian leader and grassroots. We are a network of Palestinians and community groups, farmers, cooperative, workers, union, and international supporters, which start in 2003. Our aim goal is to protect and define Palestinians to resist and to keep living in the Jordan Valley through different projects. First, we support the right of education, and we support and we build 6 schools in different villages and communities in the Jordan Valley area. We built 2 health clinics, and we build and renovate more than 200 houses. Even this year, we are going to continue building or establishing new schools in different villages. We build different community centers for farmers, for women's groups in different village and different area in the Jordan Valley to try making our farmers and women united and working together for what they need to survive and to resist in the Jordan Valley. Even we try to show our life and our fact of life under occupation through theater project. We was having and we still having a project with the Ashtar Theater. It's from Ramallah town, but we're working together in the Jordan Valley to teach Palestinians youth about theaters, about how we can collect our stories and how we can showing our student in university in the West Bank, our leaders, the life under occupation in Area C. Even we host international groups to take them around, to show them in the ground how is our life and to make him hearing from family who still living in the Jordan Valley, and even to show them the Israeli attack and harassment and the Israeli colony in the Jordan Valley, and trying to build more international solidarity and international movement to support our right as a civilian under occupation. In our website, I hope that you can have a time to visit and to see. It's mostly who we collect all the information and what's happening in the ground, and the feedback information even to different international groups and activities group or movement about what's going on. And we try to write in different language through international who support us to translate different reports or document that's happening in the Jordan Valley. One of the main thing that we ask international, it's how it's possible to boycott the Israeli support, boycotting Israeli academic and even Israeli like Israeli food that they produce it in the Israeli colony, especially in the area, in the Jordan Valley or in Area C, because there's a lot of Israeli products who exporting direct from Jordan Valley outside to Europe. And even there's a lot of international and, a lot of Israeli organization and some international organization or international company who's working to exporting different kind of products and different kind even of academic or technology from even sometimes Israeli military or Israeli government. And we work with a lot of farmers even to harvest the farmers' products who still resisting in the Jordan Valley. We work to support farmers to plant some plant and some trees. Every year we have different action with our farmers, with our even with some of women's cooperative in the Jordan Valley who have some agriculture project and to try support them through international volunteers or through different needs to make them resist and having good project in the Jordan Valley. And we are organizing different kind of protests and demonstration to ask about our right and our needs in the Area C in the Jordan Valley. And you can visit our website, you can have more information, and I am with you now. I hope it was very quick and fast and clear, and I'm happy that you give me your time. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Rashid. This was really fascinating. I'm sure that there will be questions, more questions. I have at least 2 questions right now in my head to ask, but maybe just to start, I would ask Dr. Anna Paluszek to maybe clarify a little bit this, what you mentioned as the illegal settlements. I think it's a very basic question, but it's so important to grasp this. Why are they, the Israeli settlements, considered illegal in relation to world humanitarian law? Can you comment on that?
Sure, thank you so much. I was also captivated by some of the stories. I know a little bit about the struggle the Jordan Valley is going through, and I think this really well captured a lot of different layers of the way how Palestinians in this area and elsewhere as well, because very many of these processes is very much connected in different places in Palestine. And yes, answering your question, illegal settlements, Israeli illegal settlements, are called that way because it's illegal according to international law, international humanitarian law, which says, and it was mentioned in Article 49, that it's illegal to transfer a civilian population into occupied territory by the occupying force. And Israel is occupying power over those areas, Jordan Valley, but as well after '67 war, it's occupied also East Jerusalem. That's why Jerusalem is also part of this of the West Bank and Palestinian part of the West Bank and Gaza. Of course, we could also talk about the '48 war and the fact that also the part where Israel is now, according to international law, exists, it was also in the first place occupied, and people were dispossessed and take over from the Palestinians after the British mandate collapsed in '48. But basically, the illegal settlements is some sort. It's a way, it's a method, very systematic method by the Israelis to confiscate the land, and confiscate the land without people, without Palestinians, and to put their own people. It was like a policy started in earlier, but in '80s it was like a proper governmental policies to put as many Israelis as possible to the land of Palestinians. And then in the Oslo Accord, which was also mentioned, they divided those areas into A, B, C, and it was supposed to be, and it's very important to mention, it's supposed to be just for 5 years, and after that Palestinians were supposed to get their state and their independence. Never happened. And what's happened with Area C, which is most of it is Jordan Valley, and it's 60% of the West Bank, that it's basically under full Israeli military control. And what does it mean in reality? That military law, which is much more harsh than the law when we are thinking about the law, we think about the rules sometimes. They are rules which organize society life. So we need to follow those rules, and those rules are in order. Let's say we know that in Poland now, that not always those, not only now, but in our history, know that the rules not always should be followed in a way that its government want us to, but still, in general, we would say that law is in order to organize our social life and to make our life better, easier. With military law, it means that it's emergency law, that the occupier has power to do anything with the people, with the land, like what Rashed mentioned about making a military zone, training zone in the middle of the grazing area, where the farmers usually would go with their sheep, and without doubt those sheep will die, or they will need to make it less amount, this make it less amount of food, this make less amount of ability to make any income. Sometimes even the amount of water is really like scarce to the level that all herds are basically during the very hot summer dying. Sorry, really long answer for
Thank
question,
you so much. That was perfect. Thank you.
But the settlements are on the top of this very visible top of the tip of the iceberg, and it's very much connected to basically systematic oppression and making a Palestinian to disappear from this area, basically.
Well, now maybe I would ask Pavel to comment from his side, since you have been mapping also the power structures connected to water, but moving around 400 kilometers to the south of Jordan. How does this relate? What are your reflections from this different perspective on the case of Jordan Valley?
First of all, thank you for presentation and your work, Rashed. I mean, it's both heartbreaking and very inspiring. So I started, to be honest, I started assembling like a list of organizations, of the people, the books, the ideas. I mean, that I want to just like throw on you, that this might be helpful either on political level or cultural level to boost your Jordan Valley Solidarity network and work. You know, I kept thinking primarily on the practical terms. Like it's very often about like basics, you know. So me coming in as a storyteller, as a scientist, sometimes we have those high flying ideas, you know, about structural violence and what to do about it, and we keep telling stories. We keep on this. We stay on this diagnostic, like describing violence and suffering so precisely, you know, that sometimes we are losing this need to engage on those really like basic levels as activists. And I'm one of those who kept pushing social science into more engagement, more application. You know, if you described one issue, we should start thinking about designs, the changes that needs to take place. Describing human suffering is just not enough, you know, to keep integrity of our science. That's my first introductory remark. Yeah. So I hope there are more people in the room who see it the same way. But before I start throwing in some like more like practical maybe even tips on researchers I know about who are more active in Palestine, and maybe they have more to say, and even like really amazing films that dig deeper into this description of what's going on. I first related to my fieldwork in Jordan, as you said. So in a nutshell, my film tells a story. It's a feature documentary film finished in 2020. I did my field work in 2018. I spent in Jordan 1 year, funded by Swiss federal government's money as a PhD researcher. So very privileged position, you know. But I came to Jordan seeing the resilience of the people, and in face of the severe water scarcity, in a face of, you know, welcoming the hundreds of thousands of refugees, both from Palestine, but from many other places throughout 20th century. And I kept asking myself, well, there needs to be let's focus on the water and what's happening around the water and daily life around water and power around water and let's say the ideas related to future, how our future life can look like in Jordan, in particular in vulnerable communities. Yeah, there are many people who look into the situation of refugees, Syrian refugees. Very often there are Palestinian settlements in Jordan, and there's a lot work on that side. But what I did in Living Water, that my film and my field work, I look into the south. I went to the south of the country. Why? It's a little bit more remote. Maybe some people know it because of this picturesque landscape of Wadi Rum Desert, Aqaba, you know, beautiful sunsets, stuff like that, touristic hotspot. But it's really important for the whole country because of its water aquifer. DC water aquifer underground this valley in the south. This aquifer is reachable in a relatively easier way. It's still 100 meters below the ground, but this water there is more accessible, so people can dig. And the country built the most expensive infrastructural project in the history, which is called DC Water Conveyance System. You can Google up, and it's running since 2016. And it's extracting water from under the desert in the south and channeling it 320 kilometers up to the north to, you know, highly populated areas there, primarily Amman. 50% of Amman water comes from the south. And now the catch is this land historically, or let's say by customary law, belongs to Jordanian Bedouin tribes and families in the south. But as my film shows, these families, these communities, they don't own the land. Yeah, but they were promised to settle down, to stop the nomadic life in the mid-60s and build villages, become farmers by the King Hussein, and to have a different type of life because there is water underground. We will bring engineers, we will dig it out, we will have a family, we will have schools, health system, and was this project even funded by external funding. So to cut the long story short, nowadays, the same family, the same villages, there are 7 to 8 villages that live off this water that is essential for them, but they are dependent on the infrastructure built by the state. Yeah, they can't just dig the well. First, it's really expensive, and they don't have really much resources, so they depend on the state infrastructure there. So this is a first catch. They have to negotiate with Aqaba a special economic zone. And the top priority for the Jordan right now is to boost and to build a new second capital in Aqaba. So they are in order to bring the capital from the Gulf, from the state, rich state funds in states in the Gulf, they created this special economic zone. And I will please keep in mind this word special, because I think it connects in a way to partially, it's not so brutal as in the case of Palestine and slash Israel. I still use the word Palestine. I mean, I think it needs to be maintained. The Palestine is there, needs to be set in language, needs to be protected even this way. So they created this administrative region, but the main goal is to build a city, not the communities. You see? So yes, on one hand, we have this super expensive infrastructure bringing water from the Bedouin, under the Bedouin foot of houses to the north. And on the other hand, you have infrastructure bringing the water to the coastal town called Aqaba, which is 60 kilometers. So the water is sucked out. And ultimate catch is this water is non-renewable. It's a fossil aquifer, meaning it has been sitting there for 30,000 years or more. So it's a confined aquifer. It's not recharging. So once this resource runs dry, the game is over. Yeah. So my film is asking this question. Okay, if we have the communities who are arguing, we don't have enough. We don't have enough. Our communities are growing, and we don't have enough. You need to support us more, and will help us with infrastructural investment and so on. On the other hand, and now this is a new player in this story, I'm telling you, you have private farmers, and who are very privileged people historically and officially, that they used to be politicians. There are 5 farms who started big agricultural business in the south of Jordan 25 years ago, and they were using the same water until relatively recently. And doing what? Producing crops and food, which was under the pretext of sustenance, self-sustenance of the country. They very quickly drifted towards export for food crops and fruits for export. Again, it sounds, you might see some similarities there. Yeah. So these things are changing, but it took, for 20 years, those people were enriching themselves from cheap land, cheap labor. Why? Because they were bringing Egyptians, Egyptian workers, primarily. Not even employing many locals, not really, too expensive anyway. And yeah, making money. So this is what my film is trying to show when I'm following the water, where the water flows, and I'm showing these different conflicts and understandings. How is it possible that Bedouin family and the villagers, they feel they don't have enough? And we have farmers thinking they have a best day in their life. There is this unlimited water underground. It's amazing. And I'm trying to show this. Yeah. But maybe before, since I'm talking for too long, and I don't want to give you more, but I have something to share, more practical terms. I think I will stop here in this description, but maybe this one last reference on state of exception, special economic zone, it has a special rules. And again, in the case of Palestine, we have these special military rules, which makes it like, it's obvious why it's there. It's a part of the game to get rid of people like you, Rashed. And we don't have to discuss that. It's just so obvious. But if this helps at least a little bit, I don't know, I can't help but refer to a classical book on this, Giorgio Agamben, State of Exception, and his warning how, and telling the stories of, in different cases, these exceptional situations led to the changes of the rules, how we govern ourselves, but sometimes they never go away. And we stay in this normalized, the situation is normalized, and the people, there is attempt to break them, break the will. And here I will really stop, and but I have more to share. So thank you very much, and amazing work, Rashed.
Thank you so much. I feel, we could listen to you for much longer, and I'm sure people are Googling now a way to watch your movie. But what you are describing, the pipes within the Bedouin communities, the pipes that take the water away, it relates really much to what Rashed showed me during the trip to my stay in Bardala. So I wanted to ask you, Rashed, can you tell us a little bit more about specifically what is the situation in Bardala? What is happening with the water in your village where you try to grow your crops?
Okay. Thanks, dear Bafil, I hope I spend it well. I really appreciate all what you do, and yes, the situation. Oops. You hear me?
Yes, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. In Bardala, the situation I was explaining just what's happened just this morning in Khirbet al-Deir. Settlers and the Israeli company, which is called Mikarot, they're still going and keeping controlling the whole and the main water resource everywhere. In Bardala, last 2 months, they closed our pipeline of water and confiscated more than 4 times. It was the last time just 1 week ago, they confiscate and destroy our pipeline of water.
I think, let me contact Rashed here. Okay, maybe I think Rashed is having some problems with the connection. If maybe I see Anna, you are still with us. Maybe I know your time is limited, so maybe you want to share something now.
Okay, so I would jump in because I guess that the work Rashed and his community is doing is also happening in other places, and the water, it was a subject and topic for many different areas as well, because water is life and right to water is recognized by the international law as a human right. Of course, not everyone is recognizing it fully because it's a part of the there is a convention, but it's still, I would say traditionalists would say that it's still kind of debatable in a way, because it's not a core, like a part of the Declaration of Human Rights. Although when we are talking about right to life, we cannot imagine right to life without water, and so on, so on. So this is the argument, and basically that's why. So the water in the area like Bardala, it's like of course it's everywhere. It's a basis of life, and what Rashed and also Pavel described a little bit about Jordan, what I would like to point out, it's 2 words. It's first, it's normalization of this kind of, and I will give you the floor, Rashed, in a second. I will just finish the thought. And the complicity of companies, very often European companies, very often international companies, and also the somehow connection of our own governments and our and companies coming from our countries that really are involved in the projects of making people life almost impossible in certain area because of those water projects. And the one of the illusions very often we have maybe could have in Poland about this area, that it's scarce of the water. It's one of the myths of the also Israeli propaganda about that the water or like the water is a problem in this area. What Rashed mentioned, there is quite plenty of water under Jordan Valley. It's not a scarce area from water. Actually, in certain, it's a different climate, of course, but still the aquifers are strong and they are full of water. But the amount also which is pumped out by the Israeli company like Merkorot, and nobody else is allowed to pump, although the agreement was supposed to be that part of this aquifer pumping water was supposed to be allowed to Palestinian. That's why Oslo Accord never really happened to end its existence, because this fragmentation and this control which Israel gained through those agreements is perfect for the arrangement or the goal, which is basically domination of the area and making life impossible for Palestinians, and in the end get rid of them. And this is what the communities and activists like Rashed is doing, basically resisting it. It's also not really often in our media shown, and I think this is very important to talk about that. it doesn't happening in a vacuum, that there is one or two project which is a local issue, and there is like just something happening in some sort of like disconnection from our life. We could trace certain companies and connection, and also with other natural resources, also European governments that are connected to those big projects, and that make it more maybe interesting for some people, and it shows also how this solidarity is important, because to recognize your own role in the whole process of this of making this life almost impossible in some area in certain seasons. And this is exactly what's very important to mention. It's not an exception, it's a systematic method which Israel is using against Palestinians since long time, and some Palestinian human rights organization calling it water apartheid. And why they call this that? Because they want to show that water is assigned or given to the people based on their belonging, their race, their status, and not based on the needs or like the right to water. So that's just giving like just one more bit I would like to add to that. You can look from that perspective as well, and some of the human rights organizations recognize, Palestinian human rights organizations want to show that it's something very deliberate, and it's planned, and it's involved many important partners. It didn't happen just by accident. This is what Pavel mentioned. And it's normalized through those settlements, which become natural resorts and very often used for tourism, which is quite crazy to imagine. But for example, we could find in those nice natural settings a stream of water, and we can see a group of international tourists which are just having a picnic there, and they are brought there, and then they having a lunch in an Israeli settlement. And I don't know if they are aware where are they, but very often, even if they are somehow, I would say they are complicit, because the tourism and the people who are coming and saying that, yeah, that's fine. They are like, you know, nice places to go. And why not? Why not? Because they are built very much, and the way how they are built, it's very much on the suffering and the dispossession of Palestinians. Without this dispossession, those settlements could not exist. And this is very important for us in Europe to understand, that those settlements are a business hubs for very many companies, and the produces, they are agriculture produces, wine, dates, are exported to many places in the world, including European Union. And although European Union has a certain rules which don't allow this, and they say you should not sell those products, those settlements products, as products from Israel. There are certain rules of labeling and stuff, but we know that those rules are not really applied, because the control is also in hands of Israel. So nobody really could track. Only people like Rashed and the communities, local communities, can tell you this and those dates are, and this company produced in the settlements. And this is what sometimes some organizations are trying to track, but it's very hard work. But this also is some sort of way of acting against this kind of injustice, to actually pay attention and see that certain produces sold as Israeli produces are actually produces from illegal settlements, and they are a fruit of abuse of human rights, abuse of international law. If anyone, if you are or the other people are actually care about this type of recognition, I would say that normally we should care that the fact that they are growing from injustice and from dispossession of the indigenous people or the people who are living just next door, and their life is almost making it impossible just for those dates and for those wineries to actually exist. Someone's land was taken over, confiscated, and maybe like I don't know, different scenarios happening here, but basically the roads is blocked and closed just for the settlers to actually be able to grow their plants, and then making money which sustain all this business, because Israel support these settlements, but they are still not supporting it just from their own money. They are making business, and it's a good business. Like what the story of Jordan, it's very in this way, very compatible with a Palestinian, that the business is made from this injustice, but other issues, of course, they are different. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so
space.
much. Yeah, I know Pavel wants to speak, but first let us finish. Let's allow Rashed to finish his answer. And also Anna mentioned the water apartheid. I remember that Rashed, you told me about the different prices of water depending on the fact if you are Palestinian or you are Israeli, which seems just a perfect example of the term. So can you please continue telling us more about Bardala?
Yes, in Bardala, like now the situation, 2,500, the population of the village, which they are all farmers, they are all under the risk of the water apartheid, because in any times the Israeli, they can succeed to not allow us to have any agriculture water, which is really a big problem. And even during this 2 months ago, we have really very, very limited water. And now we already very close to the summertime, which that's mean our plant, our farmers, our agriculture, they need a lot of water, especially in the summertime. And even the Israeli now they're planning to take part of our the water that they take it from Bardala village to the 48 to Israel, which that's mean if they start taking part of the water from our village to Israel, which that mean they will be sure that we will not be allowed to have any of the water which we can still fight to take it back. And the situation is really making us worried. It's really, we are under the more risk, you know, because this is the way how farmers, they can live. It's growing our field, vegetables and the fruit. And this is how the family, they can really succeed to have some agro business.
Okay, Pavel, do you want to take over now?
Yeah, I really want to go practical. Like I'm thinking about like analogies here, and that like building on what Anna just talked about. Like preparing for Jordan, I had this good will to learn Arabic, at least a little bit, and I went to the south of Algeria, to Sahrawi refugee camps, the refugees of Western Sahara conflict. You know, there's this story about the last colony of Africa, unresolved conflict, huge war over Western Sahara. And I mean, this is just crazy, because I believe in Europe, people just don't know much about it. They don't know enough. But there are many, many parallels, I believe, with the situation of Sahrawis stuck in the south of almost 200,000 people, refugees of the war over Western Sahara, stuck in the south of Algeria, and proclaiming this Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic in the mid 70s, and in order to claim the right for what's this concept, self-determination. According to the international law, Spain was leaving Western Sahara. The Spanish occupiers were leaving Western Sahara. What happened there? Moroccans seized the moment. Moroccan king said, "Oh, you know what? Western Sahara always belonged to us. It's this idea of Great Morocco, right?" And then he sent this so-called Green March. 200,000 Moroccans walk into Western Sahara to conquer it, to occupy it. And this is the start of the war, because at the same time, the indigenous, right, the Sahrawis, they were saying, "But look, we want to self-determine whether we want to have an independent state or what we want to do." And actually, there are international, the Hague, the court in Hague confirmed this is correct. But there was a war anyways. To cut long story short, now we have 200,000 people who live in refugee camps, but they still have their own ministries, and they have a state which is recognized by at least 1/3 of the international community, and they hope, this third generation of people hopes to win the Western Sahara back, because they have a right to live in their homeland. And I see many parallels here. But I now go to be practical again. The Sahrawis, they have one organization called Western Sahara Resource Watch. And this might be an interesting, maybe you know all this, but I'm just throwing it in as a link. Western Sahara Resource Watch is doing exactly this, what Anna described. It's a tracking the use of resources exploited by the occupier in Western Sahara, and show how those products are sold elsewhere. Yeah, and they are pointing out yes, it's complicit. How the European countries, or those rich countries where those products end up, how they are complicit in with this injustice. Because the whole point is the phosphate. There's one of the largest deposits of phosphate for agricultural, as an agricultural fertilizer, comes from Western Sahara. So it's all about money. It's all about money. Maybe this might make the whole case a little bit slightly different for Palestinians, but still might be an interesting case to check what kind of strategy they use. But obviously there is a group of investigatives and intellectuals and researchers helping and making the claims and tracking, documenting. But you are on this path. You are documenting as well. So maybe this might be a good partnership for you, maybe at some point in the future, because there's so many. When I went Sahrawi camps in this solidarity exchange, this is what they organize. Again, something similar to your work. They are trying to bring in more international attention, bringing people into the camps. Yes, letting them learn a little bit of Arabic, but showing them how they live there and what's happening, like what's the situation. And it's something little, but it's something. So this is one practical suggestion. And I have, oh my God. Or maybe I left you. If you want to comment, or I can stop again. But I wanted to bring this up, the Sahrawi and building international solidarity. There's just so much you have in common. And then I have more on Jordan, like who might be good partners, and maybe you know each other, but I have some links for Jordan as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, go ahead, Rashed.
And for our activity, we will be very excited and happy, of course, to share all our activities. Already we share it in our website, but even we would like to be very happy to learn about what's going on in the world, Sahrawi or in any other places or country, and even to give that's our experience. We have it, our strategy that we use it to support our communities or our farmers to resist, and to have this kind of partners, we will really be happy. And this is kind of even the popular non-violence resistance we do in the ground. This is something even we don't study it, me personally, even our groups or our farmers, they don't really study it. But this is what we believe, and this is what we can even share. And this is something even it's very, very important, you know, with all this violence happening around and in our country, in our villages. But we still believe the way for to change and to fight through what we need as a civilian under occupation. Even we don't say it's a conflict because we don't have soldiers, we don't have authority. Our authority, it's without a really authority. We call it occupation, and for us it's very important to give the really names for what is really going on. And yes, dear Pavel, we are really ready to share and to have any kind of partners. And Christina, she have my contacts, and we can be in touch. And yeah, that's it.
Christina, you want to continue?
Yeah, no, I just want to make a short comment that what you were describing actually really, that's more or less what happened when we visited Rashed in his home, and I remember Rashed getting into the car and asking, okay, so what do you want to see? I will show you anything you want to see. Just tell me what is interesting for you. And it was a very, very powerful message. And I know that there's quite a lot of international people coming to Bardala and engaging themselves, which is great. But now I'm just leaving it.
I start with a question. How do you see the work of eco-peace? I guess, Rashed, you know eco-peace. I will just share the link in the chat. Okay. Just to introduce work, or what is or who is eco-peace? Eco-peace Middle East. It's the whole. It's an NGO, I think, organization, which connects together water experts, both from Israel, of Israeli origin, or just say Jewish heritage, and Palestinian and Jordanian, and so they connect on this expert level, and their mission is to use the water as a tool for peace, as saying, you know, we have to think how to collaborate together around water in a non-violent way, to secure our common peace. Yeah, and the organization is actually using science to advocate and to to push this agenda, like a similar agenda, through these three lines, three different governments, and like creating peace and organizing events and bringing, connecting or inviting young people and the children or students, again, from all three countries to one place, because they believe in experience, in building bonds and connections. and this is it's quite a big organization already. They are receiving recognitions. I don't know. I know that the U.S. government is very supportive of eco-peace and stuff like that. So I just wanted to ask, how do you see their work? Because you are very close to where they act, you know? Yeah. Maybe do you see potential for collaboration, or it's complicated?
What I want to say, for us as a Palestinians, as a Muslim, we don't have any problem with the Jewish, even with the Christians. Our main problem, it's with the Zionism that's occupying our land, destroying the international law through not respecting the civilian under occupation and not giving us the right of water, the right of education, the health right. Okay, this is our main enemy. With the Jewish as a Jewish, we believe that we respect them. We would be happy to do any kind of work with them or without any, even if they are without any religious, we don't have any problem. Okay, any main problem, it's with the really occupation, with the Zionism, that they don't want to have even the respect for the humanity being, even they don't respect the international law. Okay. About the organization that you mentioned, my dear friend, I just really heard about them many times, but even if I am close, but I am really far away, I don't really know a lot about what they are doing. Let's say we have our more responsibility about a lot of work to do, but if they have a really good strategy for the work in the area C, okay, to bring the peace with the justice and with the freedom, not just the peace, okay? We are not just dreaming about peace, but even we are teaching and giving hope how to have the peace through what we are doing for our communities. You can imagine like a children, they are never having a school. You can imagine like a children, they are never seeing anyone from outside. You can imagine like a community without any road. You can imagine thousands of people living without electricity. You can imagine like a woman give a bath in a car in the checkpoint because there is no healthy clinic or no. And through what we are doing, we are not just in school because we have a power and to build a school. No, because we want to play with the children there. We need them to have a real education, and we need to make the school a really green schools in the way to teach them how they have to plan by themselves, because even our children, they learn and they know how to resist with non-violence through protecting them need, as in the schools or the playground or the electricity that's cable. Just we build it from a village to other village in the ground, you know, because we are not really allowed to build a huge network, and if they say it, they can come and destroy it. What I want to say to everyone, we will be very happy to work with anyone who can really give a solution for our people to live, to have a drinkable water, to have a really school, to have what we need, you know. If you are looking to each us as a humanity being all with the different color of the eyes and the skin, okay, we will not have any problems, okay, to work with anyone and to take out the voice of our people outside. Like, I am really very sensitive from the word that sometimes politicals or people, they use it when they are talking about the democratic, when they are talking about the peace. Which kind of democratic? What is the democratic? In the whole world, not just in the Middle East. Once the war start between Ukraine and Russia, the whole people, they stand against Russia. But we are 70 years ago under the occupation and no one stood against the Israeli government. Why? I want someone from Europe or from any states to tell me why. Okay? That's the really strange thing in the world. It's like, I think sometimes they control even our way, how we have to think, which is really, for myself and for my children and for everyone, I believe it's a shame to be silent about the whole crimes happen, not just in Palestine, but everywhere in the world. Even I'm not agree about what's happening in Ukraine or between Ukraine or Russia, but when I want to take a part of a fight, or when I want to take a part of talking about the right, or about freedom, or about peace, or about democratic, I will not think about I have to be with my friend or I have to be with my people. No, I will take the right as a really the right direction, okay, for who should have this right or who need, okay. And sometimes people, they're talking about one solution or which kind of solution we can have it as one state or two state. No, we don't need to talk about a solution that we have to, if it's one state or two state. We have to talk about how to stop first the occupation, you know, and each government, if it's Arabian or if it's Palestinian or Israeli or whatever, he make a crimes, first let's take him to the international law and mention them through the law about everything they did, and later tell me how we can live or how we can think to be in one state or two states. But don't let anyone free or let him like as a governorate or as a ministry or as a president, you know, and he killed thousands of children in Gaza. We will not respect to live with this president, if it's Netanyahu or if it's our president even. Because this is the mean of the democratic. This is the name of the justice and the law and the peace. It's not the peace just word, I can say it or you can say it. No, the peace is something really we can see it in our eyes, in our country, in our life. This is, they can be a really peace. I'm sorry, maybe I'm, but yeah.
Can I react quickly? Again, practical level. If you find it interesting, I can connect you with one of experts of EcoPeace, Roy Kimhi, and Roy is working on educational programs. Educational programs, again, involving Israeli, Palestinian, Jordanian youth, and trying to do something there, you know, and having hope for future, like, and using science as a tool to yes, it's very complicated space, you know. Not everyone likes what EcoPeace does. There's very much it's criticized by very many Jordanian voices. That's why I was asked starting this with question. What do you think about their work? So it's very complicated space, but at the same time, I see the activities they do and activities you do, and you share this region. Maybe you have some kind of potential for exchange, but maybe you will evaluate and see their work as not politically not correct. You mentioned first there needs to be justice, and then we can have peace. Maybe, you know, this might be complicated, but I cannot judge this for you. I can connect you with Roy, and you can look into EcoPeace work if you find it useful. And this can happen. I have one more practical one. My colleague Sina Fischer, she is a Swiss development expert and anthropologist, and she worked in this Palestinian organization and I'm sharing in chat again, the Arab Center for Social Media Advancement. And I will send a link. And she's very much committed. We're helping Palestinian youth, again, to have tools, to have how to fight, how to be heard, you know, and it's all about human rights, her work. This is the link. Again, if you find it interesting, and maybe, because again, maybe I'm telling you about organizations you know very well, and maybe you have collaborations, I don't know, but I'm just pointing this out. They do interesting work. Again, this is a third specific person I can connect you with, and maybe you can discuss and see if there is potential for anything you need, you know. So, and again, I end here, but I have more.
Yes, like we will be really appreciate, as I told you, like we don't have any problems to meet even any kind of activities, even if they are Jewish or from Swisra or whatever, you know, and later we can see what we can do, even if we cannot do anything together, or if we are not agree about the strategy or the way they are use it, you know, at least we can have exchange and sharing our experience, you know, and even we can show them the thing in the ground, you know, and in the end we are having an open way, let's say, or mind to meet and to talk with anyone. It's no problem, of course. We appreciate your Rafel.
Yeah, I think it's really important to appreciate and stress that. I think it's so important for me, but also for Europeans generally, to listen to your story, Rashed. And I think, yeah, because very often we are so much focused on our perspective on the world, and we have this Western gaze, and we don't understand that the perception of war in Ukraine is different when you look at it from Palestine. We don't understand the agriculture is different when you look at it from an occupied military zone. So I am just starting to say a thank you for the end of the meeting, but if anybody wants to ask a final question, that is, I think, the last moment to do so. And if not, yeah, I'm really happy about this meeting, and it's so important for me that I could, yeah, like this accidental meeting we had in Palestine evolved into this fantastic discussion. And yeah, big thank you for Anna, who's no longer with us, and Pavel. I will share all the links that you send. I will send them to Rashed after the meeting, and yeah, I'm sure that people will be watching the movie afterwards, maybe even today. So, and the movie is really beautiful. I was really moved by it, so I highly recommend to do that.
Thank you. Can I leave the last words to Rashed, but and I will end with last three suggestions, which are a little bit more, let's say, maybe academic, yeah, but they might be interesting, maybe for some people. I don't know. You will see. But there is one researcher from, I mean, she has mixed origin, but she's now based in London, and she's researching on water in Jerusalem. She's doing PhD at UCL, and she's an amazing researcher, and she's looking into water in Jerusalem, and I will send you her link. Again, I can connect you. I mean, she would love to talk to you for sure. And I can imagine she knows your work, maybe, you know, but maybe she didn't talk to you yet. Emily Glazer, and I'm sharing now, anthropologist, Emily Glazer. So this is one interesting person. Second, it's my friend, dear colleague, Hussam Hussein. And Hussam is important for Jordan. He's he's an expert on hydropolitics, and he has a PhD in this area. And Hussam is now back. He was teaching at Oxford, and he is now back. And he has many articles on water, politics, daily life in Jordan. So if you want to look into what's happening in the other side of the valley, Hussam is the best place to go. And the link is here. And Hussam now, he is back in Jordan, and he is part of the Royal Academy of Sciences or something. He has some kind of a super important position. But he's taking care of, I think, partnerships for Jordanian academics and as a whole. So, and he has this important mission around water and human rights. So maybe he can be, for sure, again, I can connect, and it's easy to even send him email, and he would be happy to talk to you without me. He's really easygoing. Yeah. You don't need me, and you don't need me even with Emily. You know, Emily would be happy to talk to you just like that. I'm just saying, I can make a friendly connection.
But we need you. You look really very rich with
stuff, yeah.
with partners, and I hope dear Pavel and Christina and everyone, even you are really welcome to visit us, and you will have a really very warm house if it's in winter, but if it's in summer, very cold house. I mean house like a friend, not a place where you can stay, but yeah, you are really, I will be very happy to see you there and to show you even our beauty and our nice food, not just incubation.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate, dear Christina, what you are doing. And yeah, I would like to thank you and thank everyone. Yes, and I'm happy. Yeah, dear Christina, you have my email. Even if anyone who would like to have any questions later or whatever, please, I will be happy to answer you.
Okay, so thank you so much, and I think this meeting has come to an end, and I hope you have a good and peaceful night, and that you manage to rest, and that tomorrow will be a good day for you.